What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. We'll try to keep this one brief because I was tweaking earlier. I felt weird the last few days. Romance is in a weird place, and I think we're in a weird place within it. It's irritating that, at least on the man's side, there is a method to romance, and it works. That sounds like it would be a good thing, but it doesn't feel that way. And that's because you need to be someone you don't want to be. But it's worse than that. It's someone you dislike. And you can do that, but it's painful because you don't like it, and seemingly nobody likes it, but it works, so some people like it. And I also really don't like the fact people need other people. I don't like that I have a desire to blow loads, a desire to build and maintain trust and positivity, a desire to grow mutually, and I have no idea. It seems like popular consensus has nothing to do with the facts or with reality, which is something you'll say regularly, that what everybody believes is far from the truth, but it's different when you realize that is what's happening. Consensus is culture, and culture is a product. It's our ideas of what we need or what we can do, not what we actually need and can do. This consensus idea that your internal love is all you need, or that going your own way is satisfying or can satisfy you. Maybe it can satisfy certain sorts of people, but there are lots of sorts of people, and those people are a minority. If that's. If they're real at all. Consensus, what people agree on, is like a series of advertisements designed to lead you away from anything you care about or anything that matters. And when you say that, there's an instinct to say leading you off the path, but you're not on a path. A path implies a linear progression and a direction. And that's not the way this works. It's more like you're on a fourth dimensional frequency finder. Anyway, you are compelled to companionize. But then the only ways to make companionship work are to become a rotten person. Game player, manipulator, user and abuser. And you can do these things, and you can see them work, but you become a malignant narcissist. Someone devoid of any traits that make life worth living, or incapable of building anything that makes life worth living. And I reiterate, you can do this to effect, but it's not like you'll be happy about it or like you'll be enjoying yourself. But that makes me think maybe this is a taste adjustment thing. I mean, not that long ago, we viewed Jake as a villain, and he isn't. Jake is the blueprint. But it makes you wonder why it's like this. Why is this thing we feel compelled to do designed to make us take steps and become people that will make us miserable? Or are you supposed to develop some kind of neurosis? Is that part of the process? Because you look at people's relationships that last, there is always, or are always, levels of hostility and delusion in there. And they'll talk about their connections like everything is dandy, everything is great, they love each other so much, and then they're awful to one another. I'm assuming this is something you learn how to do and develop a taste for, but you wonder why consensus looks the way it does. Everything you're taught is decent or good, and some of the things that are decent and good have no place in this key component of life. I'm angry, but I don't know who to be angry at. There is no one person or group or thing to point your finger at. The closest thing might be human nature and the way we deal with our nature, but that makes you wonder why we need to protect ourselves from our nature. Why is it so important we don't acknowledge what we are? I've been feeling tired lately, and I recognize this is because we're in a low, but I'm tired of things never making sense. I'm tired of needing to do not only things I don't want to do, but also things I hate. I'm tired of these compulsions. I'm tired of feeling like I'm watching a show or playing a game and I've lost the plot. I have no idea what I'm looking at anymore, and it's too complicated to try to get back into it, and now we're just sitting here watching it and getting more and more tired and less willing. And giving up isn't an option because there's nothing else going. And also, would you feel satisfied losing? Or not even a first place or last place thing, but would you feel satisfied not finding satisfaction in all senses, but most importantly, that core spiritual sense? I want to do what I'm alive to do so I can get my permission slip to die without feeling any kind of negative way about it. I have no idea why life is such a dickhead. I'm getting tired of thinking. And what I mean is, these days, for the most part, instinct runs my life. I don't plan things, I don't do things. It seems like I do, but what I'm really doing is thinking about and commenting on what my body is leading me to do. And I operate this way because it's most effective. It's the most effective way I've found to be. Because when I think about something and I make a decision, it never ends well. And it feels wrong too, although that may be conditioning. It feels like living as a puppet that's vaguely aware it's a puppet. You're getting a first person, quotes, lived experience of this show, except you aren't the puppet, you're the observer that feels like it's the puppet, and you, as this living observer in this shit from an outside this shit perspective, you're getting bored of the show, you're getting frustrated with the show, and maybe even your vessel is getting frustrated with you because you're hindering it. It feels like if this is your life, you are becoming a drain on your own existence. The machine would run smoother if this observer you weren't part of it. It feels like the best way for things to play out for everybody, but for me especially, as this observer, would be for the soul and the body to disconnect and go their separate ways. Awareness is doing nobody any favors. It makes the vessel's life worse, it makes your life worse. It would be better if you left the vessel to go on with its life, not thinking, not worrying about anything, just doing what it does, and you go off wherever else you're supposed to go. Or go nowhere, dissipate, as long as that fear is neutralized. A long time ago, we talked about antigens, or the antigen conceptualization of what life is. You're an antigen, you're not supposed to be here, and things are trying to root you out. Today, it still feels like you shouldn't be here, but now it's more of a whatever situation. A prolonged out of placeness. Like you go into a classroom as a kid you're not supposed to go into, you go into the wrong class, and then you're just sitting there. And you can tell you're not supposed to be there. Everything is indicating you shouldn't be there, but nobody's going to throw you out because whatever, it doesn't matter. You're not hurting anything necessarily, but it's clear, evident you are not supposed to be here. Because you realize your opinions and feelings about things are useless. Why do you think or feel anything? What you think and feel has no bearing on life whatsoever. Things are, and that's it. We started this by talking about romance. Not liking the person you need to be. Does it matter if you like it or not? No. You take those actions or you don't. You get those outcomes or you don't. What happens doesn't really matter because you aren't part of this. You only think you are. You are a vestigial phenomenon in this process, which is weird because consensus says you are supposed to be the peak of this process, and you aren't in any way. You're more like a filter than anything else. In these moments, you get tired of being part of this process and feeling totally useless in it. Because your role in this doesn't matter. That's the thing. It's not about feeling bad, it's feeling anything or thinking anything. What you think and feel doesn't matter. You're like a readout on an engine. An engine doesn't need this data readout to function as an engine, and what good is a data readout if nobody's using it, nobody's reading it? You think you're the reader, but you're not. You're the unread. You are a rinky-dink little printer trying to print out all the machinations of a supercomputer at your rinky-dink printer pace. You are the least important part of this entire system going on, even within your own body. I'm tired of feeling things I don't feel, I don't want to feel, for no benefit. Or is there another way to do this? Because this feels like, movies, right? Just watching a movie at this point would be fine. What we're experiencing, what you are, is someone sitting in the theater watching Shrek 4D. You don't want to get sprayed in the face. You don't want to get stabbed in the back for no reason. If we have no connection or care about any of this, if this doesn't make any sense, it won't make sense, you don't like it, the least you can do is not feel any of it. This is the equivalent of taxation without representation. True American. I have no say. I have no say in this shit I don't want to feel. I'm being taxed unfairly. I'm being felt unfairly or emotionalized unfairly. And I'm sick of it. And going back to the modern romance thing, this was supposed to be a very different video. The bio unit will do whatever the bio unit does, and I'll feel whatever about it. And that'll be it. It's not that everything ever was, ever could be, doesn't matter. It's that this doesn't matter. Life feels like a shitty elective class you don't want to take, but you're forced to take before you can graduate. That's how this feels. That's exactly how this feels. Maybe the answer is to stop caring and just get through it. If it doesn't matter, then it really doesn't matter. I have no clue, but I am tired. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.